How's it going, ladies and gents? Welcome to another episode of the Coolest Guys You Know podcast. I'm the guy with the beard and the glasses, Alex Bagley. Alongside me is my co-host, the guy with the mustache, Jack Hefflinger.
How we doing?
And Jack, how are we doing today?
Not too bad. How about yourself?
I'm doing pretty well.
It's a nice day out today.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
It is.
Except for it's a little chilly, but it's the middle of winter.
I mean, it's sunny, so
yeah.
Contrast.
I have realized that I have missed the blue sky and sun. Like, it is cloudy.
It's rainy for like a month.
Yeah, it has been so cloudy. Wow. Cloudy. Like for a few months now.
Yeah. Foggy and just awful.
I do kind of like the fog, though.
It's nice at night, I feel like.
I like it in the morning. Depending on how overcast it is. Like, if there's a little bit of sun peeking through when there's fog, it's beautiful.
And you can't see shit.
I can't see shit already, so it doesn't make any difference. All right, so what are we talking about today?
Where we were just a couple weeks away from Avatar, right? The Last Airbender.
Yeah, on Netflix, the adaptation,
which you're really excited for, if I remember correctly. You are a big fan of this one.
Oh yeah, so excited.
Yeah,
for this adaptation. Yeah.
What makes you so excited?
What makes me so excited? Yeah. Well, they got the title correct.
They did. That's true. They didn't change the title.
Yeah, and they have, I guess,
they have characters.
They have, they have characters. They are called the right name this time.
They are.
They have animation accurate outfits, I guess.
Yeah,
which looks,
as close as you can do, I guess.
Which looks so great in live action. The bright,
especially in the other coloring there. Yeah,
vibrant colors look very realistic. We've already kind of talked about this at work, but I'm curious because I really feel like I didn't get to hear like your in-depth analysis of your opinions.
Okay,
we definitely went into my opinions. Yes. So yeah, I was curious to ask you like a little bit more about your opinion on everything.
Okay, the more like we get about it, the worse it gets. Like they need to stop talking about it. And more people would watch it. I like based on what they're doing and like changing these characters, like some of the fundamental things that they do, like making Aang like not fun.
Yeah,
is a really big one. I feel like, but I don't know why we're changing everything. I'm not very excited for it. It looks so dark and so dull.
But dark is better. It sells.
Justice is dark. I don't know. I don't know why we need to. If it was just vibrant and fun and just a direct remake, but it was live action, I would have been fine with that. I didn't think we needed to change it. Yeah,
to be honest, I mean, it's like any freaking live action adaptation where it's like, why is it necessary? Right. Unless the animation was like flawed, like very flawed. Mm-hmm. I don't see the point in making it live action. It's just like, oh, let's take this very versatile form of animation, which animation provides so much more creative freedom in storytelling, and we're going to restrict it to live action because reasons.
Because money?
Yeah, money is really what it is.
Reasons. Yeah. I would have taken it if you did the same thing, but just either called it something else, don't use the Avatar IP, or just use a different avatar. Don't make it the crew we know. It could have been better.
Well, it wouldn't be bankable then.
I guess so.
Yeah, that's the thing. Because that's really the biggest issue I have with it is the whole business side of it and how they
Netflix
operate.
Is shit business anyways, but
yeah, but I feel like I mean Netflix I have very harsh opinions about for their business, but I feel like this is just the modern landscape of media, especially television and movies specifically. I mean, books are their own thing that doesn't really apply too much for the books that are being written. But in terms of television and movies, the landscape of adaptations is so draining. And the reason I have an issue with like what Netflix is doing is that it feels like we're required as consumers, because we're fans of the show, we have to watch it.
Right.
Because it has the title. It's a part of the universe. It doesn't matter the quality. We have to watch it because we're fans. Yeah. And only if you watch it, are you a true diehard fan? And I feel like that's what businesses bank on.
Oh, for
They
sure.
don't care what the quality is really like.
That's what Disney is like doing now too.
Yeah, all the time. It's like, it's part of the reason why I've started to not watch MCU as much anymore, is because I'm like, they haven't really earned my, I mean, the products that they're making aren't good.
No.
So why should I support them? Just because I'm a fan of the old MCU?
Right.
Or even Star Wars is starting to get a little draining for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is like a spit in the face to me for Avatar fans. It's literally saying, you guys will take whatever slop we give you, is how I feel it is. As long as we do the right things in terms of calling the characters correct names and dressing them up in the correct fashion, you'll watch it. It doesn't matter how good it is. You know, by the time you watch through all of it, it'll be too late. It doesn't matter if you have hesitancies going into it. We still know you're going to watch it. And that's why for me, like, I'm not even going to bother. There's no reason for me to watch it. I have a great TV show already. Why should I watch a remake of it with basically just wearing the skin for profit?
Right.
You know, it's not bringing, it could be wrong, but the things that I'm hearing about it, like, I already was hesitant. Because, I mean, obviously the movie did bad. And I know that everybody says, well, the bar is set so low because of the movie. You know,
I mean, there's still the show, though. It's
like, as long as it does better than the movie, I'm like, the movie is like, it was trying to be bad. Like, if you're doing better than the movie, that's just the bare minimum. Yeah. I don't think I need to reward you for doing better than the movie. And I don't think there needs to be any sort of redemption because the show exists and the show is so great. I mean, obviously it has its flaws. Everything has its flaws, but I can't think of a show that for me, I love more than Avatar all around.
Wow.
Like, there are shows that I like a lot, but they're not as rewatchable. And there are usually flaws that I'm hesitant about. Avatar, I don't care about any of its flaws, except for, I guess, the Great Divide, but you just skip over that, keep cruising.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, even some of the live action ones, because I think what makes Avatar so great, and this is why, again, what Netflix is doing pisses me off so much, is that it keeps that childlike wonder and humor and, you know, like, it's positive. Most of the best TV shows, usually, at least for me, are dark and gritty and depressing. Yeah, it's great. It's great. You know, they dive into so much drama, but it feels like it's so hard to find something that does those things while still remaining to be positive.
Right.
Because Avatar does go to dark places.
It does. Yeah.
And yeah, so to hear them saying things like, well, we're trying to make it darker for a Game of Thrones type audience. It's like, you don't understand what Avatar is.
Yeah.
If that's your viewpoint. Game of Thrones is good for Game of Thrones stuff. But even that had a terrible ending.
Yeah.
So I don't know why it's become this thing.
It's just because it was so popular.
Yeah.
They just assume everybody can do it.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, because we've seen it with basically all the streaming services since Game of Thrones ended and during the end of it, that they're like, we need to replicate Game of Thrones' success. You know, Amazon had Lord of the Rings trilogy or TV show. Disney has been doing it kind of with the Star Wars universe. You know, I've heard Cheerios, those Cheerios. Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, Star Wars universe definitely feels a little Game of Thronesy now. They're going in the darker, like the Obi-Wan and the Ahsoka.
Yeah, and well, Filoni is straight up. I love Filoni, but he straight up said that they're trying to do like a Game of Thrones type thing with their storylines.
Yeah.
So yeah, you got that. And that's just kind of like typical or common thing now. I think Netflix has already tried to do it. Personally, I've only watched like a couple, I think even just the first episode of The Witcher, but immediately I could tell, I was like, oh, this is just them trying to do Game of Thrones.
Which is what it looks like from all the trailers.
Yeah. I know people liked it a lot later, especially, but obviously they still were screwing things up because they got rid of Henry Cavill.
Yeah.
because he liked the source material.
He's a fan, yeah.
And they're like, well, we don't need the source material. You know, we're just doing our own thing. We're Netflix.
Right.
We got our algorithms. We know what the fans want. We're just wearing the skin taking credit for the IP.
Yeah.
That's how we do business. And that business works. And that's why I think it's important to talk about those types of things, because it's not on the business necessarily. The business it's not that it's not on them, but the businesses aren't going to listen.
No, until we stop watching.
Yeah, it's consumer based. And I think one of the important things to remember as a consumer is that we hold a lot of the power. In terms of, if a product isn't good, we are not obligated to spend our time and money on it.
Right.
Which is something that I think's gotten lost a lot in the streaming industry, and in business in general. We feel obligated to be loyal to companies for some reason. Because either it's what's trending, with clothing, what hits on nostalgia with things like the Ghostbuster remakes or Jurassic World or any remakes. It's like, well, you're a fan of the original, so you have to come see the new one because you're a fan.
Brought back some of your favorite characters.
Yeah. We got the original cast back. It'll be great. Yeah. And it's like they're laughing the whole time because, like, these idiots, they don't even know what a good product is. It's just throwing stuff out there, and we can make all this money.
Yeah.
And people will complain about it. Quite frequently as a consumer, but obviously they're still making money on it.
Because the complainers are going to still hate watch. Like, I'm still going to hate watch Avatar.
See, like I'm not going to do that because, like, what's the point? I can hate watch from the trailer, from the news headlines that have come out, and people can tell me it's not fair to judge it based off the series, like to judge the series before watching it.
Yeah.
Which I guess kind of holds some truth, but like I'm not obligated to watch the series. Like, if they don't draw my interest, I'm not going to waste my time watching the series. I have other series that I'd rather watch, that have drawn my interest. And if they're not that good, I can stop watching them. Mm-hmm. And the thing, Avatar, what they're doing to it from the headlines, the like you said, changing both Aang's character and Sokka's character.
Yeah. And
we haven't even seen the show already. Just hearing that, the creators walking away
and
was
Katara too, being the less motherly figure as well.
It was already concerning that the creators walked away. I mean, I think that was well known a little while ago. It kind of got smoothed over by the trailers and the pictures. Everybody was like, okay, it looks like it's going to be faithful. But now hearing these headlines, like, I think there should be, rightfully so, the outrage that there is for heading into things, because those are integral to that story. And it's looking especially at Netflix's history with adaptations, with what they did on The Witcher to Henry Cavill and the source material. Same thing with, I heard from Wednesday. I haven't seen Wednesday. I know a lot of people love Wednesday.
Yeah, I haven't seen it either.
But I know that Jenna Ortega had to fight for Wednesday's character with the writers, that they wanted to go in a direction. Jenna Ortega said, no, that's not Wednesday. And I think that that's a trend, especially with Netflix. I mean, in media as well, but yeah, especially with Netflix, where they just like, no, we're smarter. We can do better.
I think they also try to play it too safe too.
Yep. And that was what I was just about to say with the Sokka and Katara, especially. I mean, Aang stuff is probably them trying to do something
just being more dramatic.
But no, with the Sokka and toning down, I guess is what they said, but it feels like they're probably just going to brush it to the side and not even with his sexism. And I know it sounds weird to be like, we should have a character that is sexist, but I think it does send the wrong message to take that away, because the whole point isn't that Sokka was sexist and it's good that he was sexist.
Right.
Like, that's not the point.
Yeah.
The point is, you start with a flawed character, show why they're flawed, why that's a bad thing, and then them growing through it once they come to that realization.
Right.
Not just starting with a perfect character because you're afraid of backlash for having a sexist character as your protagonist or one of your protagonists. Like, and then like even with Aang, like, it's not the same thing as sexism, but like taking away his childlike play and like wanting to go around
because they're all kids,
because he has to be this serious heroic figure. The whole point was that he didn't want to be the serious heroic figure. That is the struggle of Aang, is having to figure out.
Well, didn't he like literally run away from the. That's why he got
like,
trapped
I
in
don't know what
ice.
they're gonna do with that. They're just like, yeah, he had a vision that if he ran away, it would save his life.
Right.
And then when he awoke, he had another vision to go to the water temple. Like it's like I don't even know where the tension's gonna be. It's literally just gonna be Fire Nation bad, which is another thing that isn't necessarily
Right.
Like that takes away the nuance too. Because the Fire Nation isn't supposed to wholly be bad. And yeah, man. And then, yeah, with Katara making her less of a motherly figure because, you know, it's outdated traditions for women. There is, like, that's sexist in itself to say that a woman can't have women-like or traditional women-like qualities to them and still be a strong, independent woman in their own way.
Because, like you said, she's also like one of the strongest benders.
She ends up being one of the strongest benders.
Yeah.
And it's not just like, oh, she's a nagging motherly figure. Like she has qualities that are beyond that.
Yeah.
Like, and man, there are multiple ways to do different things for a character like Katara.
Mm-hmm.
Like she doesn't have to be like a lone wolf. In fact, or like a masculine energy type of being, like a lone wolf. Doesn't really care about everybody else because she's big and strong. First off, that's Toph.
Yeah.
Like the whole.
I wonder what they're going to do with Toph. I'm a little worried about Toph.
If they even make season 2.
Yeah, if they make it.
Which they probably already recording it, but. Oh, man. Yeah. It's disappointing.
Yes.
And frustrating. Yeah.
Luckily, Avatar Studios will be starting stuff up next year, right?
Yeah, and that's the thing that with not wanting to watch this series, is like, I don't need to. You know, the creators went away. They kind of saw this coming.
Right.
Obviously. And they also know that there's still this fan base that is ready for content to come out for it. And yeah, you might have to wait another year. You know, the first project doesn't come out to 2025, but then it's like they're hitting like from there.
Project
like,
after project, a
few projects in a row, and they're just taking their time to make good quality content. And in fact, they had less of a head start than Netflix did with the live action, because live action's been announced for like years, like a long time. The director or the creators walked away, I think, like a few years ago.
Yeah.
Now
it's been taking a long time to make this,
so they got their stuff around pretty quick.
Should have listened to them.
yeah. No, but I am excited. I am excited for Avatar Studios.
Yeah.
You know, to see them because they're very good storytellers. Dino and Knitsko, I believe. And now see, like, this is talking about being a fan.
Yeah.
I can't believe I don't have their names down. But they tell good stories. They do stories in a way that are not done very commonly in modern day Hollywood and the like. So
right.
Very excited to see more coming out from there.
Yes.
And highly recommend watching their series, and potentially even waiting for their series and just letting Netflix crash and burn with the live action.
They need to. I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't make it all the way through the full show.
I wouldn't either. But at the same time, I could also see it happening because I know how Netflix's business works. I'm not criticizing their business standpoint necessarily for this, because I do think it's going to make them some money.
Yeah.
In whatever way Netflix makes money from their series.
I guess, just new subscribers.
Yeah, which is
a
whole thing in itself. I don't really agree with Netflix's approach to...
They're up subscribers. What do you mean?
Up subscribers, and they're going to hit a ceiling just like they did before.
Yeah.
Which is, again, putting their problem on the consumer. You know, they're like... Whoa, we didn't account for having a ceiling with subscribers. You know, we can only have so many subscribers.
We thought we were just gonna keep going.
Yeah, we thought we could just keep making money via subscription.
Right.
So now we got a game plan to fix this. You know, we can just make it to where they can household share. Take that back, rein it in. You know, they can't password
pay
share.
per screen.
Yeah, they can't password share. We'll gain more subscribers that way, and then the money will be flowing again. It's like, yeah, you're just going to run into the same exact problem.
Yeah.
You're going to run into you can only have, at a certain point, you're only going to have a certain amount of people that can ever
Yeah.
be subscribed to you. And the people that don't want to subscribe to you are just straight up not going to subscribe to you. You're not going to be able to just keep creating these people.
You're not
going to
draw them in by just making it worse and worse for the consumer.
Yeah. Well, even beyond that, like even if, I mean, what is the population of America? Like 350 billion, I think I heard just early today. Or is it million? I think
we're
it's
not 350 billion.
Is that the world?
Because 8 billion is the world.
You know what? You're right. You're right.
I am right.
I swore I heard
it's like
billion
300. It's not 300 billion. Maybe birds.
Okay. Anyway, 350 million. But you also have to account for how many of those are just kids.
Yeah.
How many are elderly people that aren't using streaming services. So you're only going to have a certain amount of cap just there from able-bodied people able to buy a subscription.
Right.
And then you break it down to who cares about having a subscription to Netflix. And once you get through all those numbers, there is a certain number that you're going to hit, and that number is barely going to move in like the next decade because you got to wait for kids to grow up, I guess. Like that's the only thing that's going to change. And you're not going to have, unless you start charging by the kid, like, oh, you have 5 kids watching, each one of them needs a subscription. No, you need to figure something else out in your business.
I like that business plan, though. That's a good one.
And they do stuff like that, you know, they bank on the subscription, and then they have like a movie like Glass Onion, and they're like, oh, we're going to put it out for like, you know, a few screens.
Yeah, like a limited release, like 1 or 2 week.
Like box office is where there's a reason movies were like so profitable.
I think the first Knives Out also did really good.
Yeah, like that is just a straight stupid business move to not put something like that in theater. And then,
all their movies though, they always get big stars and big directors
to do that type of stuff because you're trying to draw people to your platform. You know, we're not going to put it out in the theaters and then blame the consumer for that stupid business move that should put you in the ground. You deserve the consequences of not getting the money for that. Like that was a choice you made. It is not our fault that you made a stupid decision. And I'm not going to, that's why I still haven't bought a Netflix subscription is because they're stupid. Yeah. They're stupid.
That's why I respect Apple because they actually know how like, hey, we can make profits off releasing these huge movies in theaters, and people are still going to watch them on streaming regardless. Yeah. So
the streaming war itself has been a wash. Yeah. I think that it was overhyped because of how much success Netflix had in the beginning, but Netflix only had so much only had so much success in the beginning because it had that large pool of people to pull in for subscribers. Right. And its only competition was cable TV. Yeah. As soon as everybody else tried to get a piece of the pie, you know, you hit, like I said, the cap. And now we're in a place where pressure's on the consumer. Like, if you want this, you have to go to this streaming service. If you want this, you have to go to that one. You have to have like 10 different subscriptions.
Costs the same as cable at this point, pretty much.
And business. Right? I understand having business moves, but I don't think that's an excuse for crappy product or crappy business decisions. And that's where I think it should be turned around on these businesses, that they should be penalized. They don't get a cop out because, you know, they made a stupid decision and now it's our fault somehow. Like, I didn't choose for you to not release Glass Onion in theaters there, Netflix.
Or every Ryan Reynolds movie you make.
Yeah. You know, sorry, I'm trying to save a little bit of money because I have only so much and there's so many different subscription services. Yeah. I don't think that necessarily Netflix is superior to other subscription services. I like some of the things they do more than like a Disney. I'm not a huge Disney Plus fan.
I like it just for the older things. Like I just want to watch the original Star Wars movie.
Well, which is all Disney was banking on. That's why they don't put much effort into anything outside of their Star Wars and MCU TV shows. They're just an IP farm. HBO, I mean, the nice thing about HBO is that they were already making their own TV shows before. So, you know, those are
as long as they can retain their freedom.
Quality. Though some of them recently, I think I'm going off of word of mouth here, but I've heard like some of them have kind of dropped off in terms of what HBO's quality used to be expected to be.
Okay.
I don't know. I think Euphoria was one that was like mixed bag quality. And then obviously, was that with HBO or with Max, that Weekend's TV show? I think that was Max, right?
Oh, that was Max. The Idol, yes.
Yeah, and that obviously
was a flop,
which was just, I think it's Sam Levinson, who's the showrunner for Euphoria, and helped with the Idol.
Yeah.
I know he's gotten pretty grilled for some of the ways that he makes his content.
It seems like just younger people, but even then they don't really care that much because it's not quite their lives. It seems like a very much just like super drug fueled, like we only party.
Oh, for Euphoria. I was like,
Euphoria.
I think you're talking about like how they create shows and like, wait, where's he going with this?
For the specific, like trying to appeal to the younger demographic to draw them into HBO, but not really working.
I think the issue is with the shows, The Idol and Euphoria. Euphoria, I think, gets carried a lot by Zendaya.
Yes.
Because she's just a phenomenal actress. But with shows like that, I think it's very much like kind of the same thing with trying to replicate Game of Thrones or Game of Thrones season 1 even, where it's just like nudity for the sake of nudity. Game of Thrones kind of dialed back on that a little bit later on in the series. The nudity was a little bit less shown and usually would become more integral to the story, I think, as it went on. There were still, of course, moments that were just there for the fact. But that very much feels like the vibes that I get from Euphoria and Idols. It's drama for the sake of drama. Just going to the extremes to be extreme. Kind of draw, not really diving into the nuances and what themes sounds a little too sophisticated, but streaming services are their own thing. I could talk forever. This has been a thing that I've been passionate about for a little while, obviously.
It's like everybody, I just want good content.
Yeah, and I love storytelling. I want good storytelling.
Right.
And business tends to have influences on that. I mean, that's just a reality, and I know it's going to happen.
And the corporate guys who don't know much about storytelling, who don't, like try to get their fingers in the project.
Yeah. It is and it isn't. Like, I don't blame individuals so much. Like, I'm not like, oh, this person just sucks. Like, that's why. I think it's just the way that the system works is what's broken. I understand why they do the things they do. They make money on it. And that's why I think that it is up to the consumers a little bit to stop giving them money. They will do wherever the money takes them, and that's why we've seen, that's the whole reason sexism isn't going to be dialed back, is because we've had these pushes for, correcting these things in social media and like crusading and all that. The industries have listened, they might fake it because obviously they are for money. And then you get great TV shows like The Boys that points all that out and critiques it. And it's great, but it's just kind of a reality of things. They're going to do it, but use it to your advantage. Guide them where you want to guide them. That's the whole point of money is in terms of buying products that's how capitalism works. And I think we've gotten this thing where it's just like, we just do capitalism because that's what we're supposed to do. We're consumers because we're supposed to be consumers.
You have to consume. What do you mean?
we go out and we're like, well, I'm at a restaurant, so I must buy food,
That's how that works. Why would you go there if you didn't want food?
Exactly. Why would I go here if I wasn't meant to eat? Yeah. You don't ask yourself like, how hungry am I? You're like, no, I'm just supposed to eat.
Yeah. 3 meals a day.
Yeah. We forget that it's a tool and not what we're required to do. We're not required to spend our money on things that we don't want to spend our money on. Money is what we want it to be in that way. Like if I want a more indie type thing or whatever, I don't know. I'm kind of losing the train of thought here, but if you want something
go see an indie band.
If you want something quality, you can hold out for that quality thing. Right. You don't have to take the lesser thing. If you want the lesser thing, if you want to grab a McDonald's burger, grab it. But you're not required to eat McDonald's 24/7 because I don't know, like fast food.
Money's a great tool because we can use it for tools. We can use our tool to get a tool.
Yeah, exactly.
Isn't that great?
Yeah, exactly. That's how that works.
That is how that works.
Yeah. Money's just a placeholder. It is.
It is, yeah.
It's just a placeholder. Literally, it's not even a placeholder anymore. Like, we don't even have the funds to back it up.
Right.
It's just good faith at this point. But yeah, it's just a placeholder. You know, it's instead of having to barter. I mean, you are bartering, but
Right.
you don't have a item beyond like this piece of paper that is attached to gold. You know, it's a working system. Obviously, it's been around for a while, but you got to remember that it is a system. So,
All have their flaws.
mm-hmm. All right, kind of want to switch gears here. The other thing I wanted to talk about, another passion,
Very
of
passionate,
mine, is talking about the Super Bowl. Leading up to the Super Bowl. I'm curious to get kind of some of your takes about your thoughts about the Super Bowl and all the storylines attached to it. As somebody who doesn't really watch as much football, do you even watch any?
If it's on like a Sunday, I might catch a game or something.
Do you understand how football works?
I think so.
Okay.
Is that the one where they kick it with the foot and it gets in like the goals?
Oh yeah. You're spot on. Yeah,
Perfect.
Don't need to correct you at all.
No. When Patrick Mahomes hits those home runs, it's crazy.
Oh yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah.
He's got that nice fluid
He really does.
motion.
Yep.
Has it down. What have you heard, or you have any opinions, or is it just kind of like?
I mean, I'm just excited for it. I think it's kind of cool that you have things like Taylor Swift giving it more engagement, giving it a bigger audience. I know everybody complains that Taylor gets like more screen time, even though I think I saw that's not really true. It's just like more taking the place of like where you might show fans.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't even notice it, to be honest, but I also haven't watched as
Like
many
when I watched
games.
one of them, like he barely noticed it with the Chiefs. I mean, it's just Taylor. It's like, it's kind of cool. Like, yeah, there's Taylor Swift, big star.
Honestly, I think it's more indicative of people's opinions of Taylor than it is anything else. It's
Yeah.
like, why are you throwing this person I don't like in front of my face? And it's like, the only reason they don't like her is because she's a woman
Yeah.
who talks about emotional feels. And like, I
A
understand if you
woman
don't,
has opinions.
I understand if you don't like her music or whatever, but to straight up be like, I don't want to see her face is
Yeah.
like aggressive, because it's not like she murdered somebody. Like, she's just a good business. Like,
Yeah,
she's
a
been
good
very
businesswoman.
successful with the business of her music. And I think it's more that people are jealous that she's able to be so successful with the things that make them feel insecure. You know,
Yeah.
the fact that she's able to be emotional and talk about her love songs, and she had a boyfriend that she broke up with, and they're like, that's all she does is talk about her ex-boyfriends. It's like, yeah, she makes a lot of money on it. Like, of course she's gonna keep doing it.
Yeah.
She doesn't care about your opinion. Like, you're the idiot in this circumstance. She's making
biggest
money.
tour ever.
She's making money on it, and you're sitting there being like, she's so stupid. Like, you're the idiot.
Yeah.
And also, she just makes good music. I'm sorry, but she does. And she's also very intelligent, which I don't think a lot of people understand.
Oh
Like,
no, like her whole business thing is
Yeah.
amazing.
just from the business aspect, if you read her lyrics, she's aware of how people feel about her. And sometimes I'm like, man, that's pretty good viewpoint she has there. Pretty nuanced viewpoint. Like one of her songs, she talks about how everybody either wants her to be like, as a woman, she's either expected to be a one night stand or a girl to be married. You know, with all these relationships that she's had, it's either, she was just on a fling, or, she should marry this guy type
Okay.
thing. And it's like, that's not necessarily how things turn out all the time.
Right.
You know, like, you can have a relationship that's just a relationship in between, flings and marriage.
Yeah.
Like, that was just meant to be like a few years or not. And you don't necessarily have to want to get married in order to have a relationship.
It seems like a very archaic view.
Yeah.
Which is why it's a lot of old men shouting at her.
breaking down with some boundaries. But that's definitely something that I feel like just irritates me press wise. Like, I understand also why that's so big in the media, of course. The media just loves enraging people, so that's why it works.
Yeah.
Because that's what gets them views. And again, get into the whole, this is how the system works.
Sensationalism, yeah. And the
I just-
conspiracy theories too.
that cracks me up. Like, it blows my mind. I know a lot of it is just joking around for the script, like
Yeah.
everything's script. But the people who actually believe that the
Yes.
NFL is script and rigged, I'm like, you don't understand sports. You don't understand how incredibly hard that would be.
Yes.
And
That'd be the hardest acting gig ever. Those would be the best actors.
Like, the WWE works because everybody knows what they're doing, and they also know that they would get seriously injured. They already get seriously injured faking it.
Yeah.
Like, if you were trying to actually go out there and do those types of things in competition, like, people would be murdered. That's the whole reason why WWE is scripted. But in terms of the NFL, like, you can't do that. There's no way to make it look good while scripting it. And there's no way to handle all those different players' egos in a way that you can just keep it secret. And everybody's like, oh, money talks. And it's like, not everybody in the NFL does it for money. You know, like, the money's nice.
Yeah.
But some people do it for the love. They just happen to be making money for the thing that they love. And I don't, or even beyond the love,
they do it for the competition.
The competition. You think Tom Brady, is going out there wanting to play a rigged game? You think Tom Brady wants to take credit for Super Bowls that he didn't win? He was just scripted to win. You listen to that man talk and tell me that man did that. Or Michael Jordan for like NBA, like
or LeBron, who's been
like those guys are competitors. They're not going to go out there and take credit for something they didn't do. I guess you could have your opinions about LeBron because of his whole flopping type stuff. Yeah. But I can damn sure tell you that Michael Jordan and Tom Brady aren't going out there playing a script just because it's in their favor. Like, no. And yeah, holding people to secrecy on that massive a scale is just ludicrous to me. That's the biggest flaw with almost any conspiracy theory, is the belief that you can keep all these people in line without it being leaked out. And that you think that you individually, hearing it from whatever source, like that you're so special to like see this, that like nobody else is going to see it. Only I can see it. It's like, no, if something on that massive a scale was going on, it would be super obvious.
Yes.
We've seen how even like small scale secrets can get out so easily. Like, you know, like Watergate type stuff like that. It just doesn't work. It gets out.
Cover-ups are so hard to do.
Yeah, there probably are some things that happen that we're oblivious to, but I don't know. I don't have the belief that something on that massive scale is possible. And I guess you could say that that's why it works, but whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, some bullshit. That's how I think about that. And also, if you look at it, every time there's a conspiracy theory of like, oh, it's rigged beforehand, never ends up coming true. Like, there are so many conspiracy theories. Like, I saw the one about the logo, like the colors.
I saw that one too. They always match teams.
Guess what? That didn't happen this year.
No.
Maybe they adapted, and it's like, I think you're adapting your conspiracy theory to keep it alive. Here, I don't think the NFL is just adapting its script to avoid your conspiracy.
Yeah,
it's the same. Like, what is it? It's the saying is, whatever's the more believable thing is probably what's true.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
I would rather believe that the NFL is just played normally than believe that your conspiracy theories drive this organization that's trying to make a profit to change their storylines to fit. Like, no. Anyways. So yeah, you got that. You got the Taylor Swift stuff, and then in sports media, you have all the opinions of Brock Purdy. Yeah, it's funny because I think that these two teams are two of the best teams that we've had for like the past 5 years consistently. These franchises. Obviously, the Chiefs have had a lot more success Super Bowl wise, but the 49ers have been darn good at winning the past 5 years. They've been waiting to get over the hump. You know, this is also a rematch because these two played a few years ago in a Super Bowl. And, so anyways, short breath.
Yep.
So they played a few years ago in the Super Bowl. And so this is a rematch. And they're at like the peak of their powers. Like, these are some very good rosters.
Yes.
There's a reason that these two teams are here. You know, I know that everybody wanted the feel-good story of the Lions. Right. And it wasn't that the Lions were a bad team, but they didn't have the experience that the 49ers did. And it showed at the end of the game. You know, the 49ers had the belief the entire time that they were going to win because they have won. The Lions were like, we're just lucky to be here, you know? So maybe...
Were they up at halftime too? The Lions were up pretty good. So they were probably like, we're just going to win this
It's one of the biggest comebacks that a team's made in the championship round. And yeah, I mean, those things impact with momentum and type stuff. Like the Lions had the history of losing. You know, they had a good year, but when you get into a situation like that, history kind of shows through. You know, there is those lingering thoughts. Not necessarily that the Lions thought about the franchise, because most of them haven't been there that long. But even from a experience standpoint, I don't think the Lions had that many players that have gone to a Super Bowl. I know that they have their quarterback, Jared Goff, lost one. They have a few other players, but experience is huge in those types of situations. You know, if you've never been there before, it does start to get to you because you start to overthink, where somebody who's been there before, they're just doing their thing.
They know it's just another game you got to play.
Yep. And same thing with the Chiefs. You know, they've been there so many times. The Ravens, they're a good team. Very, very good team. I actually thought they could have won that game. But you get somebody like Lamar, who hasn't been there. He's been a great quarterback, won an MVP, probably going to win another one this year. But, you know, when the lights are shining their brightest, you get to see what people are made of. And right now is not Lamar's time. It's not the Ravens' time. I think that they could potentially go on a run next year or a few more years, and that time will be different because now they have the experience of losing, but getting close. And that's just kind of how it works. But Chiefs and 49ers going head-to-head, that's like you're getting the best of the best boxing it out with each other
game, yes.
in a rematch. And they're both fueled by these narratives that are coming out about them. Like the Chiefs are the bad guys because they've won.
Right.
And everybody's kind of getting tired of them winning, just like they did with the Patriots.
Yep.
And then, of course, the whole Taylor stuff. You know, everybody hates seeing Taylor or on the games or Travis Kelce having his ads and commercials, which I don't know why people are upset. Travis is hilarious. I love seeing his commercials. I love seeing him on SNL. I think he's got great comedic timing. And just is a great personality. I think it's hilarious that people just are upset with him. I
know.
Again, it comes down to, I think people just hate seeing other people be successful.
Oh, yes.
But, yeah,
that's why all billionaires are hated.
Yeah. Well, I have opinions about that, but
because they're all such good people. People just don't like them.
They're amazing. Yeah, they're so amazing. But you know, the Chiefs have very much taken on the role of the bad guy. You know, it's shown that it's not just a cheesy, like, we're leaning into being the bad guy. Like, it has actually fueled how they've played in games. Like with the Ravens, before the game started, you know, they had a scuffle with the kicker of the Ravens. I don't know if you saw that. No. So before the game was played, you know, they're doing warm-ups, and Mahomes was throwing a football.
Oh, is that where Kelce was like, hey, he needs to press?
Yeah, then the kicker had set his stuff up and was sitting there stretching. And from what I've heard from Pat McAfee, who knows a little bit about kicking rituals, like that was unnecessary and a little excessive on Justin Tucker's part, and very clearly like him trying to kind of getting under the skin a little bit. And yeah, Mahomes and Kelce are just straight up like, yeah, we're not having it. And, you know, setting a tone, and it could go one of two ways. You lose the game, then you're seen as like, oh, they're just, they're trying to be something that they're not, you know, they're trying to be bully him around, you're trying to act tough, but they're not. But they went out there against a very good defense. Like that Ravens defense was very good this year and very tough, and they like to hit people. And the Chiefs kind of smacked him in the mouth. It was kind of impressive. Yeah, and going into this game, you know, they got that fuel. You know, even though, and that's the thing that keeps a franchise like the Patriots going, is once people starts to turn on them, if they can turn that into like, we like being the heel, we like being the villain, that gives them fuel to keep going. Because at a certain point, you're winning games.
As long as they can back up the talk, like, yeah.
Well, I'm just like, if you're winning games at a certain point, it gets boring. But if you have the point where people start, because you're like, okay, I'm successful, everybody loves me, what's the point of going on?
Right.
But when people start to say, well, you're not that great, you know, or we're tired of seeing you win, you can turn that into fuel again, you know, instead of like, oh, I really want to win the big game or become this franchise. Now it's, I got to prove everybody wrong.
Right.
You know, I gotta be the villain and win as the villain. And you look over at the 49ers, most of it's Brock Purdy, but also like people are tired of seeing them win, which is kind of funny. Like they've been successful, but they haven't won a Super Bowl.
Right. Yeah.
You know, it's been a long time since the 49ers won a Super Bowl. They got to the one, but they lost. And then there's all the criticism of their quarterback for being a game manager, which I don't think is necessarily true. I guess he's, everybody thinks he's mediocre and lifted up by the roster, which, yeah, in some parts is true. But in that NFC Championship game, him at the end of that game, that's something only a few players can do, the way he did there. That's the Michael Jordan, Tom Brady, great type clutch.
Okay.
Joe Montana, like the cool, even-keeled player when the moment's on him, opposite of like a Lamar in the AFC Championship.
Right.
So I'm just going to be honest, Lamar didn't play great. I know that for you, you're like, I don't know
I
much
read a lot about how Lamar was
Okay.
not, yeah.
I just was like, he doesn't really watch the game. For me, I'm just going on about all these different things. But
I can keep up.
okay, good. Yeah, I mean, Purdy had not been there before. Or he was there last year. He got hurt early in the game and, lost to the Eagles. And, the 49ers just say, that's the only reason we lost the game. It's like, well, that's part of the game. He got hurt.
Yeah.
Block your quarterback better. Don't let him get hurt in the game. They did that this year. And the Eagles collapsed. So, but, he played great. I mean, phenomenal. That's the reason they came back, was because he was able to keep a cool head. I mean, 49ers have been great for a while. Jimmy Garoppolo was a mediocre quarterback. And guess what? He didn't win a Super Bowl. He got to one. Brock Purdy got to one in his second year and has the potential to win it. And honestly, if he does win it, I think give him his flowers. He did something great, even if his team was great. I mean, I can't think of a quarterback who had much success with a bad team. So I don't know why he's getting hate for that.
Right.
Occasionally, a quarterback lifts up a bad team. Brady had a really bad defense one of the years, but I think they lost that year anyways. So, or a couple of his years, his defenses weren't as great as they had been.
Right.
But most of the time when he'd win a Super Bowl, like he had very good weapons on the offense and he had a very good defense. Yes, he elevated them to like an elite status, but it's not like they were trash players.
I think it's really hard to do that in football for one person to be able to carry a whole team through. Basketball can be a bit easier.
Yes, absolutely. I agree with that. Like LeBron carried two very bad Cavs teams to the finals. So, Jordan didn't really carry many bad teams, but hence why LeBron is the GOAT.
Yeah.
But, so, 49ers themselves as a team have been, Kieran, Brock Purdy has been kind of crucified by the media. And from all what I can tell, Brock Purdy is a very good teammate and people love him a lot. That team loves him a lot. So that's some fuel there. The 49ers have come out and said publicly, like, yeah, Brock Purdy's a game manager, huh? He managed that game really well, and things like that. Like, they're aware, and that's fuel for them too. Yeah. So and the fact that people, which isn't going to be true, but that people are like, I'm not going to watch the game because it's just two of the best teams. I don't want to watch them play.
Which is such a stupid thing. You want to watch them play.
They're going to watch, first off, and second off, the fact that the 49ers and Chiefs think that nobody's going to watch. They're going to put on the best damn game that they can, because they're going to be like, oh, nobody's going to watch us. You're going to miss out on this game.
Right.
Let's go do something legendary. And then when you're in a bar a few years later, you can be like, I missed that game because I didn't like Taylor Swift. So
right.
How great was it?
I didn't want to see her endorse Biden, so I didn't watch it.
No, I forgot about the endorse Biden thing, which
yeah. People are stupid.
Anyways. I think this could be a very good Super Bowl. It could not be. I mean, you never know heading into these things. But the last time, I think a comparative matchup was the Patriots-Seahawks like a decade ago. It was like the Seahawks were an up-and-coming franchise. Potentially, they ended up not being because they lost this one. Mm-hmm. And then the Patriots were still in the midst of their dynasty. They didn't really won. I think that was the first one they won in a few years, because I know they lost to the Giants. Yeah, I think it had been a little while since they had won.
Okay.
And that kind of reignited the second half of their dynasty. But that was one of the best that is, to me, I mean, outside the Eagles winning, just because it's the Eagles, and it was a good game, the Eagles game. That was a damn good Super Bowl. And even the one that the Eagles lost last year was good.
Yeah, that was a good game. Though
I think the ending was a little sloppy to be considered the greatest of all time. But No, that Seahawks Patriots Super Bowl, that was one of the best Super Bowls I've ever seen. I didn't see Cardinals Steelers. I know that was another good one, or the Giants Patriots first time around. But yeah, that Seahawks Patriots one, because it was just the entire game punch, like Seahawks score, Patriots score, Seahawks score, Patriots score. And then at the end, it was just miraculous plays happening back to back. Yeah. And if they can, I think in terms of matchup of the teams and their quality and stuff, very similar. So if they can pull off a game even anywhere close to that, it's going to be a good game.
Yeah.
It's going to be a very good game.
I think it's going to be. I think this is going to be a fantastic Super Bowl.
Yep.
And this is going to release after the Super Bowl, I believe.
Oh, this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we want to make predictions here?
We can. Yeah. I don't really have a one way or the other, but do you?
I think the Chiefs are going to win.
Yeah.
I have a feeling they're going to pull it off. I think they have the fire. They have the momentum this year. I think that we're going to see another Chiefs Super Bowl.
See, this is why I think it's going to be such a good game too, is because I can't figure out who the hell I think is going to win. It's not obvious to me. I mean, there have been times where I thought something was obvious for the Super Bowl and ended up not being true, like the other team would win. But yeah, I can't for the life of me, because I could see how the Chiefs win based off of everything, and I can see how the 49ers win based off of everything.
I feel like the Kelsey Mahomes duo is doing really good this year.
They are, but also the 49ers have Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
He's pretty solid too, and both have very good defenses. Which I will make this prediction too, is I think it's going to be defensive heavy to begin with, because they're both very good defenses. But I think we're going to very quick, like the first drive will probably be offensive heavy. I think so, because they're both very good offenses, and the first drive is always that. Since I don't think you know that much about football, first drive is always scripted out. Like, this is what the game plan is going into it. Like, they know what they're going to do on the first drive, play by play. They might adjust depending on things, but usually it's like, okay, we're going to do this straight down the field. That's why the first drives are usually where you get some scoring. From then on, it's just kind of adapting to everything from then. It's kind of like an open in chess. So I do think that the first drives probably will score, because they're very good offenses and very good offensive minded coaches for both sides. But I think the defenses are going to have some pretty big impact there in the second quarter. Maybe the rest of the first quarter, second quarter, and then sometime in the third quarter, I think the offenses are going to start popping off, and I think the rest of the game is just going to be a straight shootout, because those defenses aren't going to be able to keep up.
Okay.
And I think it's just going to be both teams, both offenses are fueled by what the other one's doing, and we're going to have some good football there. In terms of, I guess, who I'm rooting for, is I think it'd be really cool to see the 49ers win just for Brock Purdy.
It would, yeah.
Because I think if they can win this game, Purdy has the potential to be another great football player, another kind of legend.
Right.
And to have like him and Patrick Mahomes playing at the same time and have played in a Super Bowl together, as well as all the other phenomenal quarterbacks we have in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, very good. Very good. Football is in a very good place. And I know I just heard that this is why I swore I heard billion, but I guess it makes sense. I'm not much of a numbers guy. Okay. I don't keep up with that. Right. I'm not like interested by the world population, so I don't keep up with it.
It's 8 billion in case you were wondering.
Okay. Hey, you never know. Maybe the Super Bowl's so great there'll be 350 billion people watching.
Maybe.
Or sorry, 200 billion. Because what Goodell's predicting that there's going to be 200 million people watching this Super Bowl.
Jeez.
Last year's, I think, was like 120, 150. I think it was 120 some.
Okay.
Somewhere in that range.
I wonder if they're counting halftime as well. I feel like maybe I feel like some people.
I don't know how they count a viewer. But 200 million. So America's population is 350 million, and he's predicting 200 million. The thing is that I don't, and this is something Pat McAfee talked about on his show, is that don't see Goodell putting a number out there that is that high just to undershoot it.
Right. Yeah.
So he's probably dialing back the number already,
which would be crazy.
So he must be seeing something in this, and I think he's rightfully so. Like, I think Taylor is going to draw in an audience that the Super Bowl has never had before, which is another reason why she's actually kind of good for the game.
Yeah.
You know, more people that watch, more money the NFL makes. The longer it's going to stick around, the better it's going to be all around. Yeah, no, the NFL is in a very good spot. That's why they're not really affected by any of the storylines. Like, if you go back like a decade ago to the Colin Kaepernick stuff, guess where the NFL's at now? Yeah. You know, all that talk of boycotting because of that. Yeah, you guys didn't follow through, clearly. Your movement did not follow through. Because the NFL has been on the up ever since.
Yes.
Yeah. So, yeah, I guess I would go with the 49ers.
49ers? Okay.
But I do have money on the Chiefs because I thought it's like, you know, odds aren't that bad in terms of like the Chiefs. That's a very good chance the Chiefs are going to win, and I can make a little bit of money if they do. So I was like, yeah, why would I not?
Right. You think it's going to be a close game at the end? Or you think somebody's going to take it away a little bit?
I'm hoping it's a close game at the end because those are the best games.
Yeah.
So I think it could be, though. Be realistic. I mean, like I said, I think it's going to be a very good game, and that includes the ending because it wouldn't be a great game without a good ending. Yeah. So, yeah. Kind of wrap things up here. We're like exactly on the hour mark.
I know.
It's a good time. Yeah, we kind of switched things up yet again.
Yep.
It wasn't necessarily that we did anything wrong or bad with previous episodes, but it just still didn't feel right to me. Felt like more this type of style, and I'd been kind of afraid to do this because I was afraid. I mean, we made the joke about two white guys with the podcast, but it is one of those things where it's like, yeah, I don't want to just be two opinionated white guys. So I've been afraid to like do things that actually have opinions in them, but like you take that away and it's boring, it's bland, and it gets gimmicky. So yeah, I mean, like the whole reason I wanted to do this was to have conversations with you because
because that's just how it's an easy way to flow.
We have good conversations at work. I wanted to have good conversations for other people to see. Yeah, whether or not it works is up for the people watching to determine. So, yeah, and it's something I think that the more we do, the more comfortable we get, the better the conversation is going to be. Yeah. So, yeah, just coming in here, open, just whatever happens. We got lucky on this one because I think these are two pretty good topics. They are. And very topical. So, won't necessarily always have like a huge thing bring into each episode, but, you know, just kind of feeling it out each time, seeing what the vibes are.
Right.
Yeah. Let us know what you think. If you want, if you don't, whatever.
Hey, we might not listen because we don't really care.
This is business. Yes. We don't care what you want.
No, you are going to consume what we make.
You will consume us.
Use your tools to consume us.
Consume Jack and I. Be cannibals. Kidnap us in the middle of the night.
Yep.
Scare us to death. Like we're just like terrified for our lives. And then boil us alive.
Yeah.
After torturing us a little bit, because why wouldn't
grilled?
You?
I'd prefer to be grilled.
Oh, really? How would I want to be eaten if I was eaten by a cannibal? That's a very interesting. This is enough for us to go over the hour. So this is interesting enough to go over the hour. You know what? I actually kind of want to think of this. How would I want to be? What kind of meal would I want to be like prepped as? You think grilled? I think thinking like steak, burger.
I think like a steak. Like just grill me up.
What are the sides?
What would go good with Jack?
Well, obviously like a glass of like a whiskey. A
like you get like a scotch with it.
Scotch. Okay.
So I think I pair well with scotch.
you think so? Yeah.
Honestly, I've been marinating with so much.
The meat would have some scotch flavoring in it, I'm sure.
With so much marination.
All right. What are you thinking? Like some potatoes, right?
Yeah, some like little like mushrooms baked on top of me.
Mushrooms. Gravy.
No gravy.
No gravy. Steak, mushrooms, but no gravy.
No gravy.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. What about, potato, you think a baked potato or mashed?
Oh, baked. We're going baked.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm not a little kid.
Jeez. I love mashed potatoes. I'm not a huge baked potato guy.
I like baked potatoes.
Part of that's because I don't really like sour cream. I probably should give
I've
them.
grown to like it this last year.
Yeah, I've been trying to open up my palate because I have very much stuck to my kid's palate. But
and then maybe like because I've been starting to get into wine a little bit too, like a port for dessert.
okay,
It's very good.
are you in the dessert too? Is there,
Hot butter jack.
is there a piece of you in each every
Yes,
single?
everything has to
There's
have
a little bit of
me.
blood in the
Yep.
in the port.
It's not bacon bits; it's jack bits on your baked potato.
Okay. See, personally, I love asparagus with some steak.
How would you be cooked? Would
Well,
you do like a?
That is true. Well, it had to be medium rare. Nothing beyond medium well. You're just.
Would
you're
you
not
want to
allowed
be grilled as well?
I mean, yeah, I guess. I don't really think. You know what? Smoked. Smoked foods are pretty good. I don't know what necessarily. Like a pulled pork. I don't know if you could pull that off with like my. I don't have a lot of fat on me,
Right.
so I don't know what's
Which
good
might,
for like lean.
might be better.
Yeah, I think that would be. I don't know. When you get like that nice chunk of fat and like a pulled pork sandwich, that's pretty good.
Yes.
Yeah, maybe like a pulled pork, some barbecue. You know, it's one of my favorite sandwiches. I mean, a good burger,
Barbecue pulled Alex.
barbecue pulled Alex. On the side,
Who's pulling you?
whatever man is kidnapped me. Hopefully, has some gentle
Or a
fingers.
woman.
Or it could be a woman. Yeah.
The woman pulling you.
I think I'd rather be pulled by a man.
Me personally, I'd rather be pulled by a man.
Anyways, cheese curds. I think those go very well with some pulled pork.
Yeah. Okay.
But if I do the cheese curds, then can't do cheesy potatoes, and that's a conundrum. There's too much cheese.
Is it?
Is it?
It's your last meal.
I think so. It's not my last
not
meal.
your last meal, I guess.
It's the last meal I guess they'd have.
Of you.
I guess it's my last meal, and it's the last time I'll be able to be eaten. But would you, if you were somehow still alive, would you eat your meal?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Why not?
Yeah. How many people could say?
Exactly.
I guess. Well, let's not
Well,
go there. Yeah. So yeah, you get some cheese curds on the side.
What do they make the cheese curds out of? Because you got to have a little bit of you and everything.
No, we're not doing that.
Oh, you're not? Okay,
No,
okay.
because then it would be good. Let's just be honest, it would be
Yeah.
good. I don't know what else goes good with pulled pork though. I'm trying to think of what I eat. Baked beans, yeah, some baked beans. I do love some baked beans. Honestly, I think that's kind of
Cornbread? Do you have cornbread?
Ooh, cornbread would be good. I don't think I really eat cornbread too much with pulled pork, but that's a good combination.
It's good barbecue.
With
kinda.
with the barbecue and the baked beans and the cheese curd.
Mm-hmm.
Very hungry.
You were hungry before you got here.
I
Now
was
you're really hungry.
Okay. Dessert. What we topping off on dessert? I think I have to go with cheesecake. A nice cheesecake.
I'd go with creme brulee.
Creme brulee. I don't think I've ever had creme brulee.
It's fantastic.
What is even in creme brulee?
It's pretty simple. It's like, it's creme.
It's creme.
That's creme.
You want some of my creme?
I don't know all the specifics. It's like, a little dish of like cream in the fridge. And then you pull it out when it's chilled. You put sugar on top. And then you put a torch to it to like make a super crisp, like
a
shell kind of.
Glaze, I think.
A little bit, but it's like hard. It'd be like hard. It's a hard glaze.
Hard creme.
Hard creme.
Hard creme. All right. Well, now that we got that out of the way.
Yeah.
Now you guys know.
There you
When
go.
you kidnap us.
That's our final wish.
Yep. After you torture us, you can torture us all you want.
Yeah.
Just make sure that
That's
our
how you
meal.
tenderize it.
Yeah, yeah. Just make sure that you terrorize the meat. Tastes so much better.
Yes.
It tastes so much better. Oh man.
Honey's dinner was. Oh, I'm terrorizing the meat. Hold on.
Yeah. I don't care what you do to me as long as that's the meal that you
Right.
have. If you don't have that meal, I am haunting you.
Mm.
You're going to be haunted for the rest of your days. So just keep that in mind. All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good place to stop.
There we
Good
go.
as place as any.
It is.
We'll see you next time.
Yeah. Have a good one.